All right.
Watch when you put the cup down, if you please, just because I
Yes.
can hear it on the table. That's all. We don't want people to know you drink water. Okay.
Good deal.
It's a power play against the audience.
I hear you.
Hey, all you assholes, come and listen to us. It's the Keith and the Girl Show.
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda,
Yes.
how you feeling?
How was Chemda today?
Hello. I am a little bit. Hi. I'm a little bit sick. I spent most of the weekend in bed. I had a little baby cold. I took my medicine. And here's the thing. So I'm sick. I'm like, this time I'm doing sick right. Xerxes, absolutely, you can take care of me. I need medicine. I need you to go out and get me soup. I need all the things. I was taking zinc, NyQuil, DayQuil, water, all the stuff. But then after he got that initial thing, he's like, oh no, I need to lay down too. And I'm like, no, we can't both be sick because then I have to take care of myself and we have to try to take care of that sucked very much. But it
Do
was
you tell yourself that he's sick because you ran him ragged, getting medicine and water and juices, and now you feel guilty? Chemda, for those who don't know, is one of these people. I go, take medicine, you're sick, and she goes, that just hides the pain. I'll just that part. But so I'm surprised. I'm surprised you were willing to take some medicine. I'm pleased. What makes you not question that it's COVID?
well, I think the responsible thing is to question that it's COVID. So I took a test and I tested positive.
Oh!
Yep, I have COVID right now. Into the mic, right in there. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Finally
Okay,
got it. 2 and something years into the pandemic.
In your
And
house all
I-
the time for no reason.
Yep. And I recently got a fourth shot because my autoimmune disease allows me to get a shot every 6 months, I guess, because Xerxes wasn't allowed to and I was. So I am fully vaccinated plus some. So here's the thing. I was in the house, I was separating, I was distancing, I was all this stuff. And
But you
I
drink
still got
tap
it.
water. You drink tap water, right?
It's in the, I don't know. I think this new variant is just kind of grabbing people, and that's that. And
Now looking back, you don't go out, so you know who gave it to you. Who gave it to you?
I don't know. I want to blame. My first thing was like, I know who it is, but I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's their fault.
Well,
But I want to. I want to so bad.
you know who it is. That's the funny thing.
But they don't have it, so
But
I
they
don't
gave
know.
it to you. Of course they don't have it. They gave it to you. Well, I'm not saying, I can't say this is a medical cure per se, but may I mention this? Athletic Greens. Chemda,
Yes.
every morning, I take a scoop of the powder, put it in my water, shake it up in a little thermos they give me, shake, shake, shake. Then I drink it. Delicious. I mean, for a green drink especially, but it is good tasting, and I'm energized, and I feel like I started my day clean.
Yeah, I do think it is important to stay healthy. I rode
That's your
bikes.
thing?
Yeah. And why
Let's-
not?
It's time to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially the flu and the cold season. And, well, come on, you check the news. You know what other seasons are going on. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. I know somebody that uses almond milk, says it tastes like a shake. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. They're making it easy. You're going to get a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs also with your first purchase. athleticgreens.com/KATG. athleticgreens.com/KATG. Take ownership over your health. They call it the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And I think I would have said that quote even if they didn't tell me to. That is how I feel. And and I'm a fan. All right. But you know, when I had COVID for a minute, it was like the inside of my brain was like inside my head was punching out, and I struggled to go and get some medicine. Yours doesn't sound too bad, I suppose.
I had the pain behind my eyes and I stopped smoking weed because I was like, no, this can't be good. And then, Xerxes keeps passing it to me anyway. And so I took a puff and I'm like, oh, that pain behind my eyes starts going away when I smoke. So it actually was helpful. So I am smoking weed and it's It's a little bit easier for me. And
Look
I'm
at this.
Yeah, and all I'm doing is sleeping. Also, here's the thing. I was isolating more than other people because I do have autoimmune diseases. I was afraid that this would put me in the hospital. I'm not in the hospital. I can breathe. I don't have throat issues, so I'm okay. Like
Is it a
I'm
new
not.
lease? Is it a new lease on life?
Yeah, I wonder, am I allowed to be around people for the next 2 weeks after my clearance? Like, should I just go and hug everybody for like 2 weeks?
This
Is that
is
how
it.
it works? I gotta
Yeah.
look it up because aren't you like in a very safe space as soon as you're clear after COVID? I'm gonna go lick a light pole or something. It's very exciting.
Today's guest, fantastic comedian. And I do mean that. You can check out his special on YouTube right now, White Privilege Homeless. I was re-listening to his earlier albums, Life Begins, and I think it just kicked in. New crowd work special will be coming out, this month, perhaps. Let's get to the bottom of it. Mike Cannon.
Thank you for having me. And Chemda, I'm glad you're feeling okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I
What
will
is it?
survive.
To be clear, when does the crowd work special come out? Or it
August 17th.
August
And
17th.
Yeah, and it's called
Okay.
Mike Cannon's Huge Mistake, like Pee-wee's Big
Okay.
Adventure. Because I took it, this is, crowd work specials obviously are becoming a little bit more of a phenomenon now that it is almost like a social media hack in terms, people just love crowd work clips for whatever reason. So I had tried to do it a little bit differently. So I took 150 milligram edible before filming, and then I did an hour of crowd work.
Free bird.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if you want to crowd work us for a second.
Is crowd work?
Helping.
You see a lot of crowd work being done. Is your crowd work honest crowd work? Is it cheating? Like, did I hear you say bananas?
No, I'm not like that. I mean, I don't lie very well. Like I used to as a kid over, nothing. I'd just lie at the drop of a hat. It was fun for me. But
Did the
now
drugs? I feel like drugs help you lie. Was it the drugs that helped?
so I think they actually shattered my ability to lie. Like mushrooms and weed have sensitized me to other humans and how they may be impacted by my non-truths. So I've that, and I just think that contrived stuff that is very clearly set up is very gross. So I like to be as free and honest in the moment as humanly possible, and whether or not that goes well is up for debate.
Nice shirt, asshole.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just gonna be trying to help this whole time.
No, that's perfect. Where were you the night of the recording? I could have used these pearls.
Later on in the show, I want to talk to you about you being a dad. Your kid is 3 years old, just had a birthday, as a matter of fact, correct?
Yeah, just yesterday.
And so congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I said to you guys, new high score. Feels good.
That's right. Do you think about, hey, when it gets to, I know my kid's gonna lie to me, but will I really never lie to my kid? When what about sex? What about drugs? What about will you be able to be as open? Do you debate about that now, this early?
I don't. I went into being a parent with a mission statement about that entirely, because I was not necessarily lied to, but a lot of truth was omitted to me growing up, and a lot of that has done irreversible damage in my entire life, and I'm just desperately clambering up a slippery hill trying to get all of it, getting catched up. But no, I mean, I'm going to be pretty honest with my son about any of that stuff as soon as he's interested. I'm not going to be like graphic and just be like, so you pull your cock out, that's not
but
that's
he's
not how
he's
it's
going to
gonna
be
go.
18. You're going to be like, okay, seriously, you're not interested. You never came to me. No interest.
Yeah, I'm gonna force the issue when he's like 11, and I'm gonna be like, I know what you're doing.
You buy a VCR just to leave tapes in there.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Just blank tapes with a Scotch tape strip written on it with bad pen.
Do you think kids at all, like we were forced to ask our parents what sex is or where babies come from because we didn't really have, like they would have to take us to the library, then we'd have to ask the library. We had to ask an adult. We couldn't just Google it.
Yeah.
Do you think that kids are now even asking their parents, like, why would I ask my parents anymore? It's embarrassing. Although because I didn't know how babies were made, maybe I would ask and then be like, oh, why are you talking to me about those parts? That's weird.
I think it depends on the relationship that you cultivate between you and your kid, right? Where it's like, I want the relationship where my son feels free and open to ask me about anything, about drugs, about depression, about, any of the feelings that he's feeling. So that kind of goes with sex or any of the other stuff as well. My parents, I was scared to death to ask them anything. Like they didn't really give me any kind of a talk. My dad, it's on my special, but my dad legitimately tried to tell me about sex when I was like 19 and driving him to a New York Knicks game, which is truly preposterous. My mom gave me some info, which was cool. She got me a book called What's Happening to My Body. And that, served as a masturbatory tool mostly, and I barely read it. And
the pictures.
Yeah, of course. They were cartoons too. And I was like, this is fantastic.
You can't give your kid a pop-up book, Ma.
Yeah, exactly. But, she went to Catholic school from the time she started till the time she stopped. So that it was actually pretty progressive and cool of her to want to give me information at all. My dad had no excuse aside from being just a negligent father. And beyond that, I had all the older dudes on my block that were just like feeding me information, probably bad information,
that can't
but
be
information.
Good. Older dudes on your block.
Yeah.
What could that information be as you're passing by? You hitting it? Come here. Let me tell you what hitting it means. Come sit down, boy.
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of me pretending to know what phrases and terms meant, like then kind of, feverishly asking around after. But
there was a lot of context putting together. Like I remember one of my first sleepovers, and I'm really young. I don't know if it's 10 or 11 or around that age. And somebody starts talking about period. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck a period is in terms of like what it had to have been before I was 11 because I already had my period at 11. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep quiet and see if they keep talking and I can pick up on what this period is. But then you get that moment where they turn to you and go, do you know what that is? And I'm like, fuck, I didn't know the quiz was coming before the information. And I go, I don't know, that spot on your boob. I was describing a nipple.
Nice.
Because I don't see, I'm like, let's see, period. What could a period be? Oh, the nipple. And they're like, and you know what they said? Yes. And looking back, they must have said like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, all right, now I think a period is a nipple for like at least a year.
That's awesome. You just thought, hey, the dot at the end of the sentence, the dot on the tip of my breast. This
what else could it be? The tip of my nose, the tip of my tongue. Like, what could a period be? How can I put a period?
I will say
belly button, that has a name.
One piece of information that I learned from my friends that was pretty valuable was I didn't know what like coming was, you know what I mean? Like I knew that it was the penultimate moment and I knew that it was a thing and stuff came out of your penis, but I thought like
that's a lot to know. What else is left?
Those are big words for being an idiot.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I was 6 too. But and this is how early I learned it because I was hanging out with 12-year-olds when I was 5, 6, 7 years old because that's the type of neighborhood I grew up in. And I used to think that like the sperm rose out of your dick, like out of the skin of your dick, like almost like zombies out of the grave and Thriller,
like oozing out of the all parts of your dick.
All parts, like raising out of it, and then
I'm sorry, 1 second.
It came out of the tip.
How does that make sense, Chemda?
Well, what
comes out your pores?
Yes, like
a
sweat.
Sprinkler.
Yes. I mean, it makes as much sense as a period as a nipple. I don't know. I mean, if I were to design how sex would be, it would not be what it is.
Sure. Okay. Guys wouldn't have dicks, but okay.
It kind of makes sense. I feel like there would be a better chance of getting somebody pregnant if you just oozed cum out of all of your penis instead of just the straight shot, let's hope for the best.
I just saw some breaking news. Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas, Law and Order, he just passed away just now, 83 years old. Does having your kid make you think about mortality at all? Now, you couldn't be older than 40, right?
I'm 37, but yeah,
37.
nonstop. I am, I'm constantly thinking about mortality. The moment my wife told me that she was pregnant, I started having unwanted thoughts about death, about potentially leaving her behind to care for our son alone, leaving my son, before I could leave a proper impact on him, and just very, very gruesome, constant unwanted thoughts.
Very much like, how will they ever live without me now?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got to be a narcissism thing for sure.
Meanwhile, he has 3 specials in 2 years and started doing stand-up a couple days after the baby was born. But God forbid, Mike, if you're not there, if mom can handle it.
I have no problem. I think she could definitely handle it. I know she could definitely handle it, and probably, skip along and do a lot better job than the two of us. But I have such issues with my own father that is like, I feel like my purpose is to get this right a little bit, just for generations of Irish men that have never had a good relationship with their father.
Does he ever try to give advice? You know about me and my dad's relationship.
Oh, yeah.
KeithAndTheGirl.com/dad. It's nuts. But when we were talking, we aren't now because of KeithAndTheGirl.com/dad. But when we were talking, he would still give advice. And it's like, none of our talks are real. They're all superficial, and we're just putting up with you just cause. We didn't enjoy our childhood at all, but you have advice about me and Kyle living together and her stepkids. They can't help themselves sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think my new issues are not with my actual dad. My new issues are with my father-in-law, who offers quite a bit of advice, and he's in no position to do so. My actual father, we've kind of somehow, and this is knock on wood, because who knows what's going to happen in the future, but we've more or less put our shit behind us, and not like it's of no interest to me to kind of go back and dissect it, because I've already done so on a personal level. So any shit he needs to work out can be done on his own time. So now
did you have like a sit down, or did you just kind of let it go and let it be him, or was there an apology? Was there something?
There's been versions of apologies, but of course with like certain, stipulations and asterisks and
like,
amendments.
how it is. It was tough. That's the best I could do. And what did you want anyway? It was probably better that I wasn't around. Your mom does a better job anyway.
Well, he'd never say that. He thinks
Look
that my
at
mom.
Keith. He had his father around. I mean, that can go that bad also.
He is a huge Keith and the Girl listener, so he references Keith's father often. But no, it was more me becoming a dad and being the actual authority figure and letting my hurt little boy side kind of die, because it was no longer relevant to how I want to live my life. So I put it behind me. I welcomed my dad in once he kind of showed a willingness not to be actively toxic. And I gave him kind of, a few little dip your toes in, let's see how it goes. And he's proven himself to be a pretty capable and loving grandfather. So
wow.
It's been okay so far.
Right. By the way, speaking of Paul Sorvino, he was one of these people that like, hey, I like Trump. And then he hears people like, he thinks he's hearing like, hey, you're not allowed to like Trump. And so he doubles down. He's like, then I love Trump. And he was a huge, vocal supporter. I just saw that Melania Trump is saying when it comes to the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol, she didn't know anything about it.
No, she didn't
said
even
on
have a new jacket made up for it.
Brand new jacket, right. On January 6, 2021, I was fulfilling one of my duties as First Lady of the United States of America. And accordingly, now I've heard her talk. This is obviously written, right? And accordingly, I was unaware of what was simultaneously transpiring at the U.S. Capitol building. No idea. As with all First Ladies, she says, who preceded me, it was my obligation to record the contents of the White House's historic rooms, including taking archival photographs of all the renovations. Several months in advance, I organized a qualified team of photographers, archivists, and designers to work with me in the White House to ensure perfect execution.
What was the question?
Yeah, do you know? What are your thoughts on January 6th? January 6th.
What a day it was for me. I was shopping.
I had to take a picture of the carpet in the Lincoln bedroom. I had to take a picture of a dresser in the West Wing. As required, we scheduled January 6th to complete the work on behalf of our nation. I'd like to say thank you as a voter and a taxpayer. Thank you.
What ribbon should we put on the tree for that one?
This is a very significant undertaking and requires great care, attention to detail, and concentration, both in the planning and the execution. This is my 20-year-old resume, by the way. You took pictures of shit. They're giving you something to do.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been better to be like, listen, the Adderall was kicking in and I was focused on something and it was not that.
It was anything aside from my husband.
Mrs. Trump's former chief of staff, Stephanie Grissom, says, hey, I have the text right here. I texted her on January 6th. Shouldn't we do something about this? Do you want to tweet that peaceful protests are the right of every American, but there's no place for lawlessness and violence? And Melania Trump texted back, no.
Well, why would she be doing that? She's taking pictures.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
It's an awesome. They told me it's an awesome responsibility.
I got three friends with iPhones in here cataloging everything.
Melania Trump said Miss Grissom failed to provide insight and information into those events surrounding January 6th. So there wasn't enough details for her to act on it.
Yeah, she turned on the TV and just thought it was a Buffalo Bills tailgate.
Shamefully, this behavior has only partially become public knowledge, yet was consistent with Miss Grissom. She wouldn't give us much information. I didn't want to out her, but now you know.
Okay, then tell us what it was now.
Grisham served as First Lady's communications director as well as chief of staff and as one of President Trump's press secretaries. She resigned within hours after the Capitol being breached on January 6th. So Mrs. Trump said, no. And then this woman said, I think I quit. I think this is insane. Fuck out of here. Oh, my God. So, again, your kid's only 3 years old. Yeah. But, right now I'm reading at the Dallas Love Field Airport in Texas. This just happened today. A guy starts shooting in the air at baggage claim. Everybody starts running around. I mentioned how my stepkids skip school, and I go, you know what? Honestly, thank God. Are you worried about this world you're letting them in? Never mind New York City.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd be a sociopath to say no. It was probably one of the saddest emails I've ever gotten was after the most recent Uvalde.
Yep.
We got a email from my son's preschool, like a daycare thing, and they're like, "Don't worry, we have an entire thing planned. The doors are whatever, and we have a process to go through, and the kids are briefed." And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
the kids are practicing. The little kids are practicing what if there's a shooter and what to do.
Yeah, when I used to coach soccer, I ran through an active school shooter drill with my team because it was in their school. And, it's interesting to see how even desensitized to it they are already, because these are like 7, 8-year-old kids. And we're just, huddled in this room practicing this drill, and they're all whispering each other, the coach will get shot first.
He's mouthy.
Like, don't worry about it. That guy's first. He's got gray hair. He'll just take up most of the bullets.
He is a bigger target. Yeah, just stand behind coach.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the plan? Hide under a desk? Is it the same as nuclear war? What's the plan?
It might as well be, but all these schools now pretty much have like magnetic locks on a lot of the doors, and certain protocol with the local law enforcement. Hopefully it's not stand outside and play rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who runs in there in an hour.
Right.
But I
think they go in the closet, you said, right? They go in the closet? They lock the door,
we went in like an offshoot, kind of smaller, not a classroom, but an offshoot room, almost like a fucking panic room.
And it's hard. And you know how sick this world is, but at the same time, if the woman that you're in love with wants a baby, she gives you that look like, come inside me. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, what's 18 years versus the next good 3 seconds?
And usually the 3 seconds it's filled with shame, and I'm sorry I didn't get you there, but hopefully next time.
Man, do I circumcise my kid? Do we live by a good school? What's my kid gonna be good at? Are you picturing this? Again, only 3 years old, but I wouldn't be able to help it being like, oh fuck, he can't catch a ball, and and the mom would be like, well, he's 3. I'm like, I rolled it to him. Any proclivities?
spelled it
Anything?
out.
Right? Any signs leading to anything?
I'll brag about my son for a second. Despite the poor genetics that I dumped into my wife's pristine body, he seems to be pretty great. He's really smart. He's always, and I said this since he was like 3 months old, but he has an innate instinct for comedy. Like, he used to look at me through the side of his eyes and like smirk at shit that was subtle. And I just I knew for whatever reason, he just truly understood what was funny and what was a cosmic joke and not. And, he's athletic as shit. Whether or not he chooses to go that direction is completely up to him. I'm not one of those psychotic parents that used to play sports and he must, correct my journey because it lasted.
It is weird when kids are funny though, isn't it? Because they pick up on what's funny based on our response. My nephew was climbing up a thing and he slipped. And so you hear my brother on the tape, he's filming it. He goes, and so he kept, and he was fine. He just slipped for a second. My brother, you can't help it. He says that. And then the kid repeats that over and over to get that response because he thought it was hilarious that he can get that kind of response. So now he's like pretending to slip and just acting out, just to see my brother respond because that's what he thinks is funny because he doesn't know that was scary. It was just a funny sound from my dad.
But whenever your kid would maybe laugh at something on TV, do you get nervous? Like, oh, shit, you're a civilian? That's hack. You're not from my genes. What the fuck? How are you guys working as a team, you and your wife? Are there any fights? Like, oh, he's throwing up all over me. Well, you wanted him.
Nothing quite like that. I mean, there's always disagreements and stuff, but for the most part, we're pretty great. I mean, we've known each other since we were 10, so there's no shock in terms of how each of us handles stress, and we're pretty good at picking up the slack.
And just to be clear, you're not a weirdo. Like, yeah, you guys, you're not. You had other people. She had other people, right? You're not insane.
No. Yeah, she's dated other people. I've dated other people. We've both had HPV at various points. We're good.
Oh, good for you guys. Good for you. You lived. And by the way, what a risk I took. All right, good. Good to hear. So 3 years old. Did you get your kids circumcised?
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to, right? Because I've been to a million restaurants. The woman never orders the squid.
No, here's the thing. I understand the argument against it. I do. But I also was talking to doctors and my own experience with my circumcised penis and just kind of, went for what I went for.
Yeah.
But don't worry. There's still, anytime I talk about this, it's super fun to have, constant DMs from people who are just sending me extremely graphic shit about my, son's penis. So that's always super cool. So keep those coming, everybody who's listening.
The mutilation is done. What are you going to tell me about it now for?
Yeah, I totally understand not circumcising it. I don't see a lot of or any health reasons not to, but I understand the aesthetic of, the US, like if that's what yours looks like. But I think I see both sides of this, and I think it would be very difficult for me to choose that for my kid.
The main side I see is that they say I'm circumcised. If you're not circumcised, you're more sensitive. If I'm any more sensitive, Mike, holy shit. Get the fuck out of here. I'd be coming now.
All day.
I'd be finishing right here. It's nuts.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, listen, I've heard of health benefits. The doctors in the hospital legitimately listed like a page worth of them. So I'd leave their expertise over mine. But I also don't have an uncircumcised penis, so I wouldn't even be able to teach him how to clean his penis had he not had one.
I keep seeing them. I see they hide Legos under the couch. You really think they're gonna scrub nice? Come on, what the fuck? They're kids.
Yeah, but if I had a kid with a penis and not a partner who had a penis, I would still know how to teach the kid how to deal with his penis. You don't have to have a penis in the equation. I still understand both sides. It's just, I think
you see cake on their mouth and they're like, I didn't eat the cake. You think they're cleaning the inside of their prick. I don't.
I wonder if this is one of those things where like I kind of take the back seat for it because I don't have a penis, and so like, I think it's really difficult to be like, nah, I would totally want this or totally want that. And I don't
Yeah.
know. No.
Well, that is that is an odd thing about the internet is there are quite a few women with very, harsh opinions on this particular thing, and it seems like an odd odd hill to die on, considering they are without a penis, and I have one, and I
Well,
would
it's
never.
also like what we're attracted to, right? But maybe we shouldn't talk about people's children's and their decisions on what will attract us to them later. Like,
Sure.
don't worry about it, like
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
Right.
If-
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
never tell somebody to do it. I would never tell somebody
Right.
not to do it. It's just kind of like to each their own,
If Kyle had an opinion on cutting or not cutting off our daughter's clit, that's her job. I have nothing to do with it. So don't tell me about penises. I saw the new The
I
Rehearsal.
just think, just for the record, I just think in this case, it seems like it seems like we can be hands off enough because it's not so much changing the lives of our kids. I don't know.
Sure. I was
Yeah.
going to say I saw the new Nathan Fielder show, The Rehearsal. And in this, the first one that I talked about before was about a guy wanting to make an apology. So he recreates or, pre-creates where this apology will take place, what the bar looks like, all this kind of stuff. This new one is about a woman that wants to know what raising a child would be like. So he has kid actors from infancy to 18. And she's
Stop
got
it.
But here's where it gets weird. So that she knows what birth is like, he shoves a cantaloupe up her and she has to push it out. This Nathan Fielder is a goddamn genius. Look forward to that. Hey, you're a grown adult. Was it weird first of all, did your wife breastfeed?
Yes.
Is that weird as fuck? And you just got to get over it?
No, it's actually it was pretty trippy, to be perfectly honest, because it's just insane, the fact that your wife is providing nutrition with her body.
And I always think
amazing.
who's the first people to figure this stuff out, Like a guy would have been like, I give milk too, I think. I mean, we didn't label it yet, Like, no, that's
Yeah,
weird. Don't be weird. It comes from my tit and that's it. Okay.
And the pain that surrounds it, like just
Right.
the early days of human engorgement of breasts, and to think you got to like mash it and then there's liquid that comes out and it's some sort of release, like it's incredible.
I'm reading a story here, a robot chess machine, like a big, I don't know if you know those armatrons, but,
Yes.
just an arm moving chess pieces, was playing against a 7-year-old, grabbed the 7-year-old's finger and broke it. That's
Is
a whole
that
thing
how-
on Let's
but
Watch
that's
Out
not
for
how you play-
Robots.
That's not how you play chess anyway. So what was?
You shouldn't grab the person's finger and break it, right?
But you shouldn't grab the chess piece and break it. So what move was this robot doing? Like, how did we get to breaking the piece? How hard is the chess piece?
So I'm going to ask you, do you feel pressure having to be the protector of the house, whether it's a demon robot or, strangers on the street? It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
think not so much now, but I mean, if an intruder came, I would be the first line of defense that would be quickly defeated. But I think I really got a grip on toxic masculinity when my wife was pregnant, because I was truly like, anybody who came close, I was ready to throw them into oncoming traffic. Like, I just felt so protective of her growing our human inside of her, and it just like I've never been more on guard in my whole life.
Did you manage to stay out of fights, or did you actually get into any fights?
Oh yeah. I'm a lot of talk. I don't really engage.
We know who's in charge of this household, right? He's allergic to cats. They have 2 cats.
Stop it.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't
I have
that a
trouble
slap in the
breathing every
face?
morning.
You have trouble breathing every morning. Isn't that a slap in the face? Just take your medicine, sweetheart. Meanwhile, in his stand-up, he talks about smoking weed in the house, and the cat coughs, and she goes, "No more weed in the house." What the? I would take this personal. I got to be honest.
Yeah. My wife gives me a Zyrtec every morning and is like, "Enjoy your dementia in 30 years," and then we just gotta continue our day.
But you talk about how we were raised, and how we raise our kids. But I guess, what's that saying? Your job is to leave your kids better than they found you, right? So it'd be kind of easy for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing better than my dad did, sure.
Right, but that's what your dad is thinking also, or at least
Right.
most parents. They're like, you should have seen my parents. I'm like, okay, yes, credit where credit is due, but like, does that mean you're like, okay, I learned 20%, 50%, 100% more than my parents, so I'm done. Stop asking me to learn new things. I'm so much better than this other person that I couldn't stand, and I actually left the country so I don't have to be around them to make a better life for me. Then I left that country again, so I am 2 countries away from my origin. But stop asking me to do more.
Yeah, to me, I won't make my kids bring frozen milk to school, and they don't have to dig holes as a way to keep them busy. Done.
Yeah, and I actually tell my son what feelings are. So boom, I'm already ahead of the
Right,
game.
you're
Oh my
set.
God, you know feelings? How many do you know now?
I'm like up to almost a handful.
Oh my God, just like his age. Like for every age, you guys both learn a feeling. That's
right.
huge. That's
That's
great.
right. Well, the only feeling that was allowed to be expressed in my home as a kid was rage, and at that point, you were free to express it any way you want, and then afterwards, we'll never talk about it again.
Right.
Wee.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, here's what you need to know. I can go on forever, but Mike Cannon doesn't have the best internet. I didn't mean to call you out and
It's
embarrass
just
you.
been truly brutal for all involved. I apologize.
To you guys, you think the show's half an hour. It's been 4 fucking days. Anyway. You do want to check out his special that's coming out next month. What's the name of it again?
Mike Cannon's Huge Mistake.
Mike Cannon's Huge Mistake. And also check out White Privilege Homeless right now on YouTube.
Also, Mike Cannon's huge mistake is now answered. His internet provider. Time to change.
That's right.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah,
He proved
sounds
me
good,
right.
Mike.
Thank
Sounds
you,
real
Mike.
good. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Yeah, not that great. I like game right. Hey.
In fairness, that's how you guys sound to me too. So I'm just pretending it's your problem.
You don't even know what you've been agreeing to.
I know. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, sure.
We find out he doesn't have a kid. KeithandTheGirl.com. Say hi. Info@KeithandTheGirl.com is the email. Join us on YouTube. We have some big stuff coming up, so make sure that you're subscribed. You'll see what we're talking about, and we'll talk to you soon. That's it, Mike. Easy breezy.
KeithandTheGirl.com.